When I look at the comments for the full-size pickup trucks that we've done here on Test Drive, two statements stand out the most. Number one, people feel that the full-size pickup truck market has gotten so expensive. Sure, the entry levels are still affordable enough, but you can get all the way up to nearly $100,000 for a half-ton pickup truck if you go with the top-end luxury trim from any of the four major manufacturers here in North America. The second statement I see a lot of is how big these trucks have gotten. They are huge now compared to 20 years ago, which is why a truck like this makes a lot of sense for people who don't really care about the real truck enthusiasts who claim you need to have either a full-size truck or you really need to go up to a 3/4 ton heavy duty. If you need a truck and you don't want to spend a ton on it and you need it to fit in your garage, this might be an option for you. Our spotlight is on this 2021 GMC Canyon AT4. Now, this is the first time that we're featuring a mid-size pickup truck here on Test Drive, so we are going to spend a little bit of extra time on it. But there's also some things that I want to go over, both about the segment and this specific GMC. Now, as I mentioned, real truck enthusiasts will say that this is not a real pickup truck, despite the fact that this is a body-on-frame, rear-wheel drive pickup truck, just happens to be smaller than what you can get in the half-ton pickup truck size. But that's always been the problem for these mid-size pickup trucks here in North America, because it's sort of a macho thing to buy a truck. You buy it because you want to show off more than anything else. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people out there who are buying pickup trucks because they literally need them for whatever business they're doing. But there is a huge segment of people who buy them specifically for the look, just to show off and have something that maybe fits with their lifestyle or projected lifestyle. But the point is that if you're using a pickup truck for what it's intended to be used for, chances are something like this GMC Canyon will tick the boxes for what you absolutely need. But for now, let's talk about what's new for 2021 when it comes to the Canyon. This is a new off-road trim available. GMC has been offering their AT4 vehicles for a little while now. This is new on the Canyon, and it adds a few extra things if you really do want to do some light off-roading. You do have dark chrome finishes, larger grille, and red recovery hooks with unique Kalahari stitching on the inside for the half leatherette, half cloth seats. You also have the AT4 badge embroidered in the headrests, which look pretty nice. This comes with 31-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack tires on 17-inch rims. You have an off-road suspension with advanced hill descent control, and then the four-wheel drive system has an Eaton G80 rear auto-locking differential. The transfer case also comes with a skid plate. Now compare that to the Sierra 1500's AT4 package, you don't get quite as much. If you're coming from, say, a Ford Ranger, this would be in line with the FX4 off-road package, not so much their newly announced Tremor package, though I'm sure people will argue one for the other, but I just don't feel that this has the same capabilities as the Ranger Tremor. Now, this is a crew cab short box. MSRP is $41,898 Canadian. This is an early production model, so we don't have any options available on it at this time, but you could add more to it. So this is essentially a base AT4 without any additional options, but it does sit higher up in the trim nomenclature when it comes to the GMC Canyon. Ours is finished in Summit White with jet black cloth seats on the inside. We have a $550 spray-in bed liner and $295 for the trailering package. This also has a 5-foot, 1.7-inch bed. That's a slight bit bigger than you can get on the Ford Ranger. And if you're looking at one of these, one of the advantages of the GMC Canyon is you can get the crew cab, so 4 full doors, with the longer bed, the 6-foot bed, whereas with the Ford Ranger, you're limited. You either get the big bed and the smaller cab, or the smaller bed and the bigger cab. With this, you can go either way. Gross vehicle weight rating for this is 6,000 pounds or 2,722 kilograms. Max towing for this is 7,000 pounds or 3,175 kilograms. Now, if you go with the diesel, you would have an extra 500 pounds of towing. It would also boost up the gross vehicle weight rating on it. The hauling rating for this specific truck is about 1,400 pounds or about 600 kilograms. That will vary depending on what you put on the truck and if you do any additional options on it. But that isn't bad at all for a mid-size pickup truck. In fact, I believe it is better than what we had on the Nissan Titan a few months ago. So if you're using a truck as a truck, this is the way to go, because it really isn't very well optioned for what we've seen from, say, the GMC Sierra. In fact, it feels a lot like the previous generation Sierra that we featured a couple years ago. You still have a physical key to start the truck. There's no keyless entry on the doors. You have halogen headlights with LED fog lights, and pretty much the inside is what you would expect from the previous generation Sierra, even though for 2021 the front end has been updated to look a little bit more like its bigger brother, as well as the back end. The tailgate now has the Canyon badge along the center like we're seeing with the Sierra. There are also 3 engines available for the Canyon. This one is optioned with the 3.6 liter V6 engine, produces 308 horsepower, 275 pound-feet of torque with an 8-speed automatic transmission. You can get a Duramax diesel engine with this as well, and there is an entry-level inline 4. But overall, GMC claims that this is the best in class when it comes to power, and it definitely is. If you compare it to the Ford Ranger, there is less power with that, though the Ranger has more torque. So it depends on what you're going for. The Ranger has a little bit more towing capacity as well. So if you're looking for maximum tow, maybe go with that. But so far, this really does add up to what most people would be looking for when it comes to a pickup truck. Now, how does it compare to the Sierra 1500? Well, we have 2 options to go with. Either you're going for price, so if you want something that's about the same price as this, $43,000 Canadian, or if you want the same off-road capabilities, you can go with the 2021 Sierra 1500 AT4. Base MSRP for that is $63,198 Canadian. You get a 5.3 liter Ecotec 3 V8 engine, produces 355 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque, and a 10-speed transmission. That comes 4x4 standard on the AT4. Now, unlike this, the AT4 on the Sierra gets a little bit more kit. You have a 2-inch factory lift, a 2-speed transfer case, an off-road suspension, traction selection with off-road mode, and some other goodies. Some of the other features you get with that trim include ventilated front seats and heated rear seats, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, 10-way power front seat controls with driver memory, a heated steering wheel, keyless start, dual zone automatic climate control with rear air vents, LED exterior lighting all the way around, power folding mirrors, the multi-pro tailgate, an HD backup camera, and depending on how you configure it, you can get up to 11,300 pounds of towing with a 2-wheel drive model, or about 8,500 pounds with that AT4. Now that's quite a bit more. It's about $20,000, and it comes pretty well equipped. It's a bigger truck, more capability. So what if you were looking based on price? Well, you're going to be getting a lot less with the Sierra. You could get a double cab, so smaller interior with the standard bed. You would have a tow rating of 7,400 pounds, so it's not much more than this. And that would come only with the 4.3 liter V6 engine and a 6-speed transmission. Has less power, 285 horsepower, but more torque at 305. Manual seat control, 7-inch screen, and no heated seats on that trim, but we would add the Sierra value package to add a couple of the features that we get on this. Price would be $43,193 Canadian. So that would be directly comparable on price, the double cab standard bed base Sierra trim, or you can go with this. So it depends. I mean, for me, I've enjoyed this. I don't care. I know that there's so much machoism when it comes to pickup trucks that I feel that a lot of people unfortunately get suckered into having to buy something that they don't ultimately need because maybe they've got colleagues or friends or family that own pickup trucks and they look down on you for buying a midsize instead of a full-size truck. But that's why we're going to be spending some time going over why this would be good. We've talked about the exterior, we've talked about the features and mechanics of it. This really is a competent vehicle depending on what you're doing with it. So let's take it on a road test. We'll go over everything else you need to know if you're in the market for a mid-size pickup truck and you're thinking about the 2021 GMC Canyon AT4. Now, before we get into everything, I just want to say that I know that there are people out there who will never consider a mid-size pickup truck. They will only buy a full-size, and there are people who will only buy a heavy-duty with a diesel engine, and that's fine. This video isn't for you because there is no reason why you would buy something else. That's what you want, whether you need it or whether you just want it. But this is the video for people who genuinely are interested in buying a pickup truck and want to know, do you really need to spend all that money on a full-size, depending on what you need to do with it. Now, I've been spending some time with this GMC Canyon. As I mentioned outside, this is the first time I've driven a mid-size pickup truck on test drive, and I have to say that it does tick the box for what I would need at this price point. And if you compare it to cars in this price point at about $43,000, it's super light on tech. There's really no enhanced safety tech on this thing. There's no active cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, none of that stuff. You have pretty much a bare bones vehicle, which a lot of people want. going back to the opening statement I made, so many complaints come on the full-size truck videos about how much stuff these trucks ultimately come with now. So you do get a much more basic experience. Mentioned as well, the inside on this feels a lot like the old generation, the previous generation GMC Sierra 1500, which is to be expected. You know, this is the smaller version of their pickup trucks. You would expect it to have sort of last year's tech. So the layout works. You know, you've got an 8-inch infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. No wireless CarPlay or Android Auto at this point. You get that on the Sierra, but you don't get it yet on this, which is, again, it's okay. You know, you do have a phone plug, so that's what I've been using to be able to have my navigation on here, and it's got a 6-speaker audio system. Nothing special from there, but again, it works. If you're buying this as a work truck, or you're buying it because, you know, whatever you need that bed, you don't necessarily want all the frills and luxuries, then this is a great way to go, because it does everything that a pickup truck needs to do. It's got that 5-foot bed, plenty big for what you're doing. If it's, you know, if you're really on a day-to-day basis using your bed, you're going to know if it's going to be big enough. But for the people who buy a vehicle like this to maybe put something in that bed once a month, this is going to be more than enough. Hauling capability on this is good too at 1,400 pounds. I have no issues with that. We do plan on doing some truck stuff with this week. We're not going to be filming it. I'm just going to be doing some stuff that I need to do with a big bed, and this will work out fine for me. And then the one thing that I noticed when I got into this, despite this having the AT4 off-road package, it's actually pretty good on the road. Unlike the Ford F250 Super Duty Tremor that we did, that I found was just a little rough when it came to the on-road performance, I find that this is better. Now, I can't compare it directly to a regular GMC Canyon, say the Denali, but these are pretty beefy tires. The suspension is smooth enough on the road, even though the road here is pretty crap, but you know, it works well. And the interior road noise is actually really good. I'm able to have a conversation with anybody in the car. I can listen to my music and have no issues with it. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. And the space is good too. Again, this feels like an older pickup truck from 10, 15 years ago, so the space on this is good as well. Okay, they don't offer a bench seat, and the rear seat space there is decent without any features back there. There's no vents in the center, so you know, your passengers back there won't have as much airflow, but again, that's more or less to be expected, and it works out. And everything else about it has been really good. You know, I like GMC. I like their trucks. I would take a GMC over the Chevrolet just because of the look and the design on it. I think it's got a very elegant look to it. It's not trying to be over the top like the Chevrolet Colorado will be looking. This has a much more reserved but elegant look to it. Upscale, because GMC is considered premium as far as GM is concerned. They cost a little bit more than their Chevrolet brothers, but overall the look on this is really good. They've updated it slightly, so if you were to park this front to front kind of thing and looked at both front ends of a 2020 and a 2021, I think the only thing you're going to notice, unless you're a diehard truck enthusiast, will be the fog lights. These ones are sort of a vertical style LED, whereas the old ones were projector based at the bottom. And then the back end, again, I mentioned that the tail badging has changed a little bit, but it's a nice small refresh for 2021. And I think these are still going to be popular. I mean, this is a great option for somebody who doesn't need the size. And that's, again, what it comes down to. The capabilities are there. What you need out of a pickup truck, 7,000 pound towing is more than enough. You're barely able to get that in most crossovers and SUVs these days. They're mostly around the 5,000 mark. So you're getting more towing with this. You have the ability to put things in that bed, having the 5-foot bed in there. Go up to the 6-foot if you need a little bit of extra space with this cab configuration. That is a plus over the Ford Ranger. And then everything else that you would want from a pickup truck is there. I know compared to the cars that we drive, this feels light, but I'm telling you that this is a lot nicer than I was expecting. When I got into this and it was a regular key and everything's, yeah, feels like an older truck, I thought at first, oh boy, what a week we're gonna have. But about 10 minutes into my drive, I realized, wow, I don't miss any of that enhanced safety technology at all. So when it comes down to it, the GMC Canyon has ticked off the boxes that I want out of a pickup truck, unless you absolutely need the full size because of the image that that truck might give to you. Then you will be fine with a vehicle like this. The capabilities are there, the space is there. This fits the need for buyers who need something that has a bed but don't necessarily want to spend the price of a small luxury car to get it. I've been very impressed with the GMC Canyon. AT4 package is livable even if you're not going off-road with it. I would probably look at a different trim unless you do plan on doing some off-roading with it, because the overall capabilities are kind of light. Again, if you're looking at this and the Ford Ranger, you're not going to have Tremor off-road capabilities, but it still will be very competent. We're not doing off-road stuff anymore here on Test Drive. I don't have a place to do it, but again, I'm sure it would be plenty fine. But as a pickup truck, this has really surprised me. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. I'd get the Denali though.